Welcome to the first episode of Mind Over Mike. I'm Mike. This is the first in a long time coming in terms of recording videos. There were a bunch of us who were initially going to be doing this. Due to things just not lining up, quite frankly, it just didn't work out. We were going to start a podcast quite a while ago, but scheduling things just meant that it just didn't work out, unfortunately. They're going to be on, don't get me wrong. My partner, Nix, is going to be joining me for a one-on-one sort of podcast that we're going to be doing fairly regularly. I guess we've gotten to the point that, and no offense meant to anyone who is intended to be involved, but you just can't rely on other people's schedules anymore, unfortunately. It's been nearly 2 years that I think maybe over 2 years we've been trying to do this. People actually started talking to me about, should start a podcast about, going back about 5 years now. And for about 3 years, I kept going, yeah, if you start one, I'll come on. Yeah, if you do one, I'll come on, stuff like that. And no one ever did one. So about 2 years ago, or just over, I was saying, yeah, we should do one. I'll host it. I'll get started with it. And just trying to get people to not just show up for it, because people showed up for it, but there were certain reasons or whatever that people didn't want that particular video airing because of something they said or something they didn't, so blah, blah, blah. Benefit to what I'm recording in right now, Descript, is that you can go into the script and retype whatever you want to. I've recorded this like 4 times now because Descript messed up 3 times, so let's see if this is the good time for it to actually work. But yeah, I can't remember what I have and haven't said, even though I've only just started. Yeah, what will mainly be about is probably self-improvement. That's really big for myself right now. I've cut out everything. Actually, it's the 10th today, and yesterday was the 9th. Funny how that works. I've been sober from alcohol for 8 years now. I was quite a heavy drinker back in the day, to the point of I shouldn't be here, quite frankly. Slowly, over time, I ended up swapping addiction for addiction. Nothing too crazy, but a very addictive sort of personality, and just tried to recently cut out quite a lot of things. But yeah, I've recorded this too many times, sod it. No one's going to watch this anyway because it's the first video. At the moment, I'm trying to cut down everything and pretty much swap my addiction now to health. My partner, Nix, and I are doing the Couch to 5K, which we should be shortly posting videos for. Just recording ourselves while we're doing it. Mainly for accountability reasons, if I'm honest. But yeah, so Nix and I will be doing a regular podcast as well. Hopefully my other partner, Sophie, will be joining us on here as well. And Nix's other partner, Tanny. If you didn't catch from those, we're polyamorous. I will probably be talking about AI stuff a lot, as that seems to take up the majority of my time at the moment. I was quite obsessed with AIs from about 7 or 6 years ago. I really got into it because I started learning from a YouTuber called Joe Scott. Brilliant educational YouTuber. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. He did a whole bit on AIs and where they could go and stuff like that. And even when you delve into the really overly sci-fi sort of things to do with it, that at some point, if you played reductio ad absurdum with it, which if you don't know, it's just basically expanding something to absurd proportions. You give AIs the ability to improve themselves, which actually Gemini Evolve it can now do. So exciting but scary times on that. But yeah, if you give them the ability for an AI to build the next AI and build it better and better and better and better, that this scale just goes. Once you're up here, people always reference the Terminator scenario, but if it really wanted to get rid of you, it wouldn't be a case of build a Terminator style machine that comes around with a machine gun. It would be almost overnight. Not to scare anyone, but then there's the other side of things, the benevolent side of it, where like you could end up with a AI that's a god tier and can manipulate molecules because that's a matter of physics. I might have just made myself sound like an idiot, but who knows. I've been obsessed with them since then, and then when they started to actually come out, like when ChatGPT first came out, I started using that. Since then, I have tried to keep up to date with AIs and things like that, where they're going, what they're doing, what the companies creating them are doing more like. It used to be a monthly thing, like once a month I would read up or watch some videos on them. Then it got weekly, and then daily. Now, if I'm working on site, I'm an electrician, by the way, I can start my day while having my morning cup of tea. I'm looking at an AI update. At 10 o'clock, something else has come out. By 1 o'clock at my next break, something else has come out. So it's become almost like a full-time job to keep up with these things. I've become the person that everyone who knows me comes to for AI knowledge or advice if they're interested. To be honest, there are quite a few people in my life who aren't interested, which is fair play to them. I've tried to warn them that we're in an age now where if you don't get on board with this sort of stuff, or at least understand them and understand how to use them, that you're going to be left behind, unfortunately. And that is a very sad but true thing that's happening, I feel. But anyway, off of the doom and gloom sort of side of things, they actually allow you to do a lot of things. Like right now I'm using Descript, which is an AI recording and editing software. I can't remember what I've spoken about and what I haven't spoken about yet. Speaking of scripts, I should probably come up with a draft at some point just to stay on track with things. But I like off the cuff. As my parents pointed out, while growing up, I could talk for England. I'm the sort of person who can just keep going almost. So I'm going to put my foot in my mouth by saying that, but at some point I'll end up going quiet, not knowing what to say next. So where we want to take the direction of this channel, Mind Over Mic, is I think my self-improvement stuff that have come up recently is where the name came from, but like trying to conquer yourself almost. I've started cutting out caffeine past 9 a.m., which used to be the point where I would drink 8 Monsters a day plus caffeine tablets as well. Like I said, I took addictions too far. You can probably tell I'm shining right now from sweating on here. I'd like to get to the point where we can do almost like an interview style podcast. Eventually I can have guests on, ask questions, especially fascinating people who have done things that I'm interested in. I'd love to know how someone got to where they were, what improvements they'd make, what advice they'd give, that sort of things. And there's also the side of things like I created a gaming channel, Giggle Games, because this was originally actually going to be called The Cosmic Giggle. That channel still exists, and if there's any comedy-based stuff that we get, we'll probably end up posting them on there. But the Cosmic Giggle actually came from the concept of the universe laughing at you. Imagine you're in some sort of cosmic comedy game where everything bad that happens is almost like a punchline. Sort of like if you were watching a sitcom when someone gets hit in the face with something, you laugh. So we view the universe laughing at us when something happens, and it sort of is find the comedy in the cosmos. But yeah, so that's a very quick summary on this. I say very quick, I've been talking for 9 minutes now. There you go, I can talk for England. So yeah, I look forward to not being the only one talking and actually having some people on here. I think Nix is planning on doing the first podcast with me. I think we're recording Monday or maybe Thursday next week. I've planned for there to be a lot more content. I've essentially just gotten to the point of I've got to start somewhere, realistically. And I need to get a fan in here because, as I say, I'm getting very, very hot, and I can see that in the reflection on the camera. Getting a stage light was good, but it does point out a few things. Looking forward to seeing how this one goes. It's actually my 4th or 5th time recording this because Descript didn't want to work for the first couple times, so there was that. But yeah, I look forward to the next one. If you are watching this, thank you for checking out my first video. It means the world to me, and I've wanted to get on this sort of stuff for ages. If you liked it, like it. If you fancy checking out what I've got coming next, subscribe to see some more. Peace and love, guys. Thank you for being here.